tuned in to the Blockchain Breakdown podcast. This is Anthony Price, and I'm here to talk about the blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, and more importantly, the innovative tech companies that are driving this business revolution. Today, we're going to continue with our series interviewing the team members of the Lending Coin, or TLC. TLC is a blockchain-enabled private lending company. So today, we're going to get a little bit different perspective from the legal counsel of TLC. We have with us attorney Stephen Wieland. Mr. Wieland specializes in commercial law and manages law offices in multiple continents. He and his partners represent multinational corporations and small startups. He also holds a law degree from the University of Iowa College of Law. I really enjoyed having a conversation with him. He offered a lot of value and had a great perspective on the lending coin and the cryptocurrency markets. So without further ado, I give you my conversation with Mr. Stephen Wieland. Mr. Wieland, thank you for joining us on the podcast.
My pleasure.
Awesome. And so let's get started. Could you just tell us a little bit about your background or your experiences with real estate, cryptocurrency, and how law is involved as well?
Well, I spent 2 years working for the Idaho Supreme Court as a clerk for Justice Warren Jones, who recently passed away. After I left the court, I spent 4 years with the largest corporate law firm in the state of Idaho. And 3 years ago, I left to start my own commercial practice. I consider myself kind of a commercial generalist, so I do a lot of different business type stuff, and very frequently part of any commercial dispute or commercial transaction in real estate involved. So I don't pretend to be a specialist in real estate. I'm more of a well-rounded business person. I started out in my house, working alone in my home office with one client, and now we have, we've got 7 attorneys and 2 offices on 2 different continents now, lots of staff keeping us going. So I understand that kind of entrepreneurial drive that the other folks in the company have. That's why I think we get along so well.
Absolutely. That's right. And that leads into my next question. How did you become involved with the lending coin?
I was at a social function. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of an old school social club we have here in Boise called the Eric Club. Indy and Phil were sitting upstairs at basically looked like a poker table, just hanging out. They have this kind of inscrutable aura about them, and we just started talking, and I was pretty fascinated with their idea, and I really liked their energy. So they invited me to be outside counsel for the company, and so I do just sort of the general, jack of all trades type commercial work for the company as a result of that.
Awesome. Very cool. And so looking a little bit more broadly, if you've been involved in the cryptocurrency market, from your perspective, how did lack of laws or regulations of cryptocurrencies negatively affect their investors?
Well, I think there's actually been a misconception out there that there was some kind of lack of regulation in the cryptocurrency industry. The problem was not lack of regulation, it was lack of compliance and lack of understanding. There is a very well-established body of law that tells us how to raise money, how to talk to investors, and how to transfer money. That law is well settled. It's been in existence for a long time. The problem is that the people who pioneered the crypto space were either not aware of those regulations or are of a small subset of people who believe regulations don't apply to them for one reason or another. And so what we're really just seeing is the government's showing up and saying, yeah, no, these laws apply to you. They always have. And I think people are just starting to take notice of that.
Yeah, that's right. My next question was going to be, what are the benefits of cryptocurrency regulation? But I guess we could change that more to, what are the benefits of cryptocurrency regulation compliance?
Well, I mean, I think there's like 2 related questions, right? What's the benefit of the government actually starting to enforce the regulations? And what's the benefit of complying with them? Those are good related questions. And the answer is that whenever the government assertively regulates an industry, it generates new it does generate a new body of law that makes it easier for the people who come next to comply. So while it's true that we have this very well established body of law that says, you can't just go out and sell cryptocurrency to people and raise money willy-nilly, what wasn't exactly clear was where are the very specific boundaries and in what situations do you actually have to comply with those regulations. So the benefit of the SEC coming in and enforcing its laws and the regulations that have built up around those laws is that every time they take somebody down, right? Every time someone goes to jail or narrowly misses going to jail, we know what happened now and why, and we can learn from that so that the next time we can do it better.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great answer. And so regulation and really just compliance is becoming widely known that you do have to listen to those rules that the SEC's had for decades. How do you think the crypto market will react to this compliance?
So if the markets are assured that the companies out there, and I'm talking specifically about companies either raising money through tokenized securities or selling these so-called utility tokens that oftentimes really are just securities, investors know that those companies are complying with the law. They can have confidence that what they're buying, if it's an investment, or what they're spending money on, if it's some kind of utility token, actually is a good investment, or at least is potentially a good investment, or that the utility token actually has utility. So, in a roundabout way, the legitimate business people in this industry they're the ones who are going to benefit as well, and not just investors and not just consumers of utility token services or DApp products that you see, on the Ethereum network.
And the SEC, they have those regulations to verify the company behind it and protect the investors' capital. And so, switching over from the cryptocurrency side a little bit to more of the real estate side for TLC, are there any real estate legal formalities or issues that you're working around or dealing with or have dealt with?
Actually, I have not personally been involved with the kind of nuts and bolts of negotiating and closing individual loans, and that's just a business decision on the company's part to go without an attorney. And makes things faster and things makes things cheaper when you don't have an attorney involved, and so that's fine. But if you zoom out a little bit from the individual transactions, what I am excited about, or one of the reasons I'm excited for TLC, is because TLC can legally lend money secured by interests in real estate in a lot of different markets without having to undergo some kind of specific licensing or some other kind of specific compliance regime. And that is true in TLC's home state of Idaho, where there is a tremendous amount of real estate activity right now. It's the fastest growing state in the country. There's a lot of demand for real estate dollars. And fortunately, the state has not decided to intervene in those kinds of transactions. And the perfectly good reason for that is because if you own commercial real property, if you're sophisticated enough to own and manage, an office building or an industrial park or a shopping center, you are perfectly capable of negotiating a loan refinance with someone without the government taking part in that transaction.
That's right. And I know the last refinance that TLC had, I believe they, had their whole application process and decision that's made in only 10 days, which comparatively to the bigger banks and all is significantly less time. And so my last question is really TLC focused. You might have already answered that in my last question, actually, but I'm really wondering, is there anything that TLC is doing through laws, regulations, or anything like that that other startups aren't, or anything from your perspective that really sets them apart?
Well, I think TLC is a pioneer in a specific kind of fundraising model, which is that there's no gimmick, no game here. They are selling tokenized securities to raise money as an investment company. And an investment company is a specific kind of company. It's regulated by the Investment Companies Act. It's essentially a legal term applied to a company that its primary purpose is to invest in other assets. What we've seen a lot of are people raising money for some app or for some marketing scheme or to sell you quote unquote utility tokens for to buy computing power or some other kind of service. What we really haven't seen a lot of is just someone trying to remake an established, well-known business model, which is it's like a REIT, a real estate investment trust, or some other kind of investment company that all they're doing, look, they're just raising money, but they're doing it in an innovative way. And if everything goes according to plan, it'll be in a way that's more transparent for investors. So that's what's exciting about it.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow, that was an amazing answer. I love that because it seems once all these people saw how much money could be quickly raised through ICOs and through making your own coin or security, and a lot of people doing it out of greed and trying to just profit and not caring about what happens to those that invest based on, the growth of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. It's just true that TLC is really just using the blockchain, using these technologies to improve on the process of lending by using a cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology. They really are just taking out that middleman and creating more profits and a method to, with more liquidity, more security, and more transparency to take part in the investment profits of the real estate investments that they make. So that's awesome. Mr. Wieland, I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you. It was good talking to you.
You could probably tell how much I enjoyed Mr. Wieland's answer to that last question. I'm a big believer in TLC and the fact that they've been able to improve upon inefficiencies of the old lending system and find a way to benefit both the refinancer with their subprime rates and the investor with the ability to have more liquidity, more transparency, and more trust in TLC to take part in their real estate investments. So I really enjoyed that conversation with Mr. Wieland. I hope you did too. Thank you for tuning in to the Blockchain Breakdown podcast. There will be more to come. This is Anthony Price. Tune in next time.